the titles of the Bab in Al-Kafi, those are actually what Sheikh Kulayni believes. So it's not that he's just compiling all the narration. There are things in it that he could have omitted if he wanted to. And it's not just something you say lack of time. How many years did it take Al-Kulayni to write Al-Kafi? You go by the traditional accounts, they're talking 20 years. 20 years is a lot of time to authenticate as well. And besides, when you look at a hadith, for example, a hadith like Imam Hassan alayhi salam, na'udhu billah, being mitlaq, being a serial divorcer, and Imam Ali alayhi salam telling people that don't marry your daughters to him, and other khurafat which Al-Kafi is full of, you cannot say that, oh, he didn't have time, and what do you mean he didn't have time? He could have omitted these hadith, he didn't have to save them. But actually the sanad, if you look at the sanad of this hadith, it is sahih even by the manhaj of Sayyid Sistani and manhaj of Sayyid al-Khuy, which is why scholars like Atullah Sayyid Kamal al-Haydari want to bring in a new methodology in Ilm al-Rijal. They say this traditional Ilm al-Rijal of Sayyid Sistani and Sayyid al-Khuy has failed us big time. We cannot rely on it alone to dismiss the fabricated narrations, because some of the inventors of hadith were so smart, they actually invented the most flawless and impeccable and immaculate chains for the worst kinds of khurafat. So that's why just even if Sayyid al-Khuy and Sayyid Sistani come and tell you how the chain of this narration is sahih, does not mean the content is also. And that's why Sayyid Sistani and Sayyid al-Khuy themselves, they authenticate the chains of some narrations, but they say we don't accept the content because we have other qara'in, other contextual clues that go against what this narration is saying. So anyway, that in itself is a separate bahth. But this view that you've presented, this is the traditional view, and it has been challenged in scholarly circles. It's not, Sheikh Al-Kulayni was not simply preserving all the hadith and saying, you know what, I'm not concerned with authentication and all of that. Rather, he wanted to, he did not label his book. Just look at the title. He's not saying Al-Jami', for example, that this is, Al-Jami', you will find everything here. He's saying Al-Kafi. This book is sufficient. And people, some of the akhbaris, they attributed the iftirat on the 12th Imam. هذا كافٍ لشيعتنا. This is kafi for our Shia. Imagine the 12th Imam would say this about a hadith that vilifies his grandfather, that this is kafi and sufficient. Unless he meant هذا كافٍ لإضلال شيعتنا. This is kafi to misguide our. That would be a different thing. But yeah, that is the traditional view, and it's not accepted by new researchers that are coming in this field.